Hi, my name's Oliver. I'm a professional gardener based in West Yorkshire. Today I'm talking about slugs and snails and the problems they cause for us in the garden. Obviously, as a professional gardener, I get a lot of customers asking me questions like, Oliver, I've been out in the garden and I've noticed my vegetable patch has been absolutely devastated, and I've been keeping my eyes out for slugs and I haven't seen any, so what do you think's caused it? And sure enough, I go and check, and I can see the slug trails all over the place, and obvious slug damage, holes in the foliage, and I say, well, it looks to me like you've been attacked by the slugs again, And they say, oh well, what shall I do? Should I use slug pellets? And obviously, anybody who knows what's in these slug pellets, these metallohide slug pellets, they destroy everything. They kill all the worms in the soil, they kill hedgehogs, they kill birds, they can even kill your pets if you put enough down and your cat, curiosity killed the cat. If it ends up eating something that's eaten lots of slug pellets, it could easily poison your cat or your dog. It's well documented phenomenon known as bioaccumulation. Well, that got me thinking about possible alternatives, and for a long time I just refused to use anything, and I killed them on sight. I'd step on them with my foot, or chop them with a pair of shears. But obviously, it really only works for the ones that you see, and they tend to be the biggest ones. Especially me, I have quite poor eyesight. But on the whole, it's actually the tiny little baby slugs and snails that are in and amongst the foliage of plants that are causing the majority of the damage that you're seeing. And they're the hardest ones to get rid of. They're tiny, you know, they're hard to see. And even if they are, say, on a flagstone, when you step on them, they just slide off from underneath your boot and, you know. So that got me thinking about possible alternatives. And, well, here are a few that I've come across, and a few tests that I've been doing. And this video is about that, really, about alternatives to metallohide slug pellets, things that are readily available to you and me that aren't going to poison. So here in my kitchen, and this is what I'm talking about. It's multi-purpose ammonia. I paid £1.99 for it, so it's pretty cheap. 500 ml, and it is pretty dangerous stuff. Keep it well away from your skin, your eyes, everything, pets. But it will burn you if you get it on your skin, so don't do that. But mix this in a spray bottle at a proportion of about 10 parts to 1. That's 10 parts water, 1 part ammonia. Now, I've heard of people going up to strengths of 50-50, half ammonia, half water, but I really wouldn't recommend that you try anything higher than 10 or 15 parts to begin with, particularly if you're spraying it onto a delicate plant. So I suppose your question will be, why is ammonia better than slug pellets then? If it kills slugs so well, isn't it going to kill everything else just like slug pellets? Well, the thing to consider here is that slug pellets are just that, a pellet. So they hang around on the surface of the soil, and they're very effective at killing slugs when they come along on the soil. But when they're actually already on a plant, slug pellets are pretty much useless. This we're turning into a spray, which we're going to spray onto the foliage. And as soon as they get sprayed, they drop off onto the soil, and within a few minutes they've died. Now, ammonia itself is made of nitrogen and hydrogen, and when it enters the soil, when it drips off the plant, a bit of it's going to be absorbed by the plant, and it can be used as a nutrient for protein production, and some will fall into the soil and be used by bacteria, soil bacteria, Nitrosomonas primarily, that turns ammonia into nitrite. And then there's another bacteria called Nitrobacter, I believe, that comes and takes that nitrite, turns it into nitrate, which is the primary component of all plant foods. It's what plants use to make protein and it's extremely important for plant development. So a couple of other quick mentions here, a couple of things that you can add to the mix as well as ammonia to help the ammonia work. This is really good stuff, and it's not particularly cheap, but you don't need a lot of it. It's effectively plant soap, and what it's going to do is it's going to make the spray stick to the slugs more than it would do if it didn't have this in. And if you don't have access to a plant soap of some kind, you can just use normal soap. Now obviously this is very strong. I believe, you know, it seems strong to me. When I use it, you need a tiny drop, so don't put too much in. Add it after you add the water, or you'll just end up with a spray bottle full of foam when you're running the tap into the bottle. Now the other thing to mention is table salt, sodium chloride. Now we are not going to be using table salt because sodium is very poisonous to plants as well as slugs. Well, if only there was a substance that was like table salt, similar, you know, price, wasn't poisonous to plants. Well, there is, and it's called potassium chloride, and they sell it at supermarkets. It's normally sold sodium-free salt for people with high blood pressure, but you can also buy it online. It's very inexpensive. Just make sure it's pure potassium chloride, because obviously if it has a lot of sodium in it, most plants aren't going to like that, particularly if you're going to be doing this a lot. You'll probably heard that you should never mix household cleaning products. Well, if you mix potassium chloride with ammonia, you're going to end up with a small amount of ammonium chloride forming, which is actually used in the food industry, I believe, as an additive to licorice. But yeah, it's a small amount of potassium chloride is going to increase the toxicity to slugs, and it's going to do your plants no harm either, because potassium chloride is also used as a fertilizer. So ideally you'd have a spray gun like this one, preferably one with a nozzle like this. Just can keep the ammonia well away from yourself, because it's not great to breathe it in. And remember, don't make it too concentrated, because ammonia is also poisonous to plants, but it will be really effective at treating things like this. It'll kill black fly, green fly, and I guess as a byproduct it'll even kill the ants. This slug was sprayed with the ammonia and water solution, and it was about 5 minutes ago, and well, it's not moving, and it's definitely it definitely won't bounce back from this. I don't know if it's quite dead yet, but they do seem to die quite quickly, much quicker than slug pellets. I've seen slug pellets take over a day to kill them. This is like 5 minutes later. As you can see, it's totally not moving. So in summary, I would say that the ammonia spray is very effective at killing slugs on contact. It has no systemic action whatsoever as far as I can see. I've noticed slugs slithering into the areas where I have been spraying a couple of hours later, seemingly unaffected, which you could look at as a bad thing, but it's also good in the respect that you haven't left any residual toxins around that are going to poison other animals that you didn't intend for it to affect. One thing I would urge caution with is spraying any plants that bees are visiting, anything that's in flower that bees or other pollinating insects, wasps or hoverflies are visiting regularly, as we have a bit of a national shortage of that kind of thing. Once the plant has finished flowering and the fruits are developing, you then spray away. Just watch out for bees. Like I say, increase the concentrations up to 50-50 ammonia water. Just be very careful what you spray that onto, because that can harm some delicate plants. Ammonia itself is actually slightly toxic to plants, like I've mentioned in the video, when it's in high concentrations. In low concentrations, it is a fertiliser and will do your plants no harm at all. It'll help the foliage green up, nice strong green foliage. So yeah, that's all I'll say, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.